Welcome back to World News America. Now, here in the U.S., President Trump is refusing to sign a housing affordability bill that Congress passed on an overwhelmingly bipartisan basis. Let's bring in our politics panel tonight. Stephen Kent, and commentator, and Doug Farrar, former director of public affairs for the Federal Trade Commission and Democratic strategist. Good evening to you both. And Stephen, I want to start with you. Finally, a bipartisan bill, and one that actually tackles the question of affordability. Why not sign it?
It's a genuine question, isn't it? 90% of Americans want action of some kind from the federal government on the issue of housing. And a poll from the Bipartisan Policy Center found that 80% of individuals polled wanted the Road to Housing Act passed. This was going to do genuine work around the margins to cut red tape, allow more building to happen, and to make it more profitable for developers to do the thing that Americans need them to do, which is build homes that people can afford and get into. And when we talk about the affordability issue, affordability is, of course, a lot of things. It's food, it's gas, it's taxes. But the number one thing that voters will tell you on top of the affordability issue is the cost of housing, the cost of having the American dream, which is a home that you can own. And Donald Trump is making a major political misfire here with holding this legislation hostage for the SAVE Act.
President Trump says the SAVE Act, which is about voting, is a national emergency. So do you think that he shouldn't have linked these two, or that it is vital as he says?
I never like the language of national emergencies. It always seems to me to be cynical politics to try to, get people to do whatever you want, or you use federal power in a way that is unconstitutional. It is not an emergency to achieve voter ID. It is an emergency, actually, what the cynicism amongst the American people over housing is doing. Political radicalism in this country and populism fueling movements on both the left and the right can all be traced back to cynicism over the achievability of the American dream. And housing is at the center of that.
Doug, what do you think?
I agree with Stephen. I think the emergency is housing. What I see President Trump doing here is essentially tying the SAVE Act to anything he can, knowing that it won't pass. He can count votes just like Thune and the other senators. And what he wants is an excuse for when the Republicans lose in November that he can blame on someone else for the outcome. And the real issue here is that they're supposed to be running on affordability, and for the entire duration of Republican control, since Trump was elected, they haven't passed any bills that make anything more affordable. Finally, they've got one that everyone from Elizabeth Warren until Donald Trump up until a few hours ago agreed was a good idea. And now he's tanking it to create a ready-made excuse for their failures coming in November. The real loser here is the American people. People need homes, just like Stephen said, and this bill would have made a real impact on both the construction of homes and their affordability. And so I think Republicans running for office and American people hoping to buy homes are the real losers of this exchange.
Yeah, and we understand that President Trump had a pretty contentious meeting with some Republican senators on the Hill today to that point.